What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to cover a topic called the pros of hair loss. Originally, I wanted to make this the pros and cons of hair loss. However, the cons are all over the internet. Alright, so I can cover some cons really quickly before I go into the pros, which is why you came. Cons are everywhere. If you go on social media, if you even look up like on Google hair loss, you're gonna start getting ads of Keeps and everything telling you like all the cons of losing your hair. You're losing your hair, you need to act now or it's gonna be too late and everything, right? Which is true. Yeah, you do need to act now if you want to keep your hair. But so let's talk about the cons of losing your hair. All right, real quick. You may get bullied, right? People may make fun of you because you're different. You may be less conventionally attractive. You no longer have hair to style, and there's a change that you may feel uncomfortable and unconfident with. Pretty basic stuff, right? Those are like cons of hair loss. You could get sunburned on the top of your head if you have to go bald, right? Things like that. Those are all cons. Now, pros of hair loss, and not trying to be funny, like obviously we all know like those joking pros, like, oh, you're more aerodynamic and all that stuff. Like if you're bald, like you could walk faster, like, right? Like we all know those like pros, but these are actual like real pros. So pros of hair loss, it's less complicated, okay? So it's pretty simple. Right, if you have to fight hair loss, you need to be on medication, and you need to be preferred if you did your blood work, so you understand your hormones naturally. You have to go talk with a doctor and get some feedback on the dose and everything. So it's gonna be less complicated. It's more simple. Not everyone wants that simplicity, right? Because you choose like if you want to do like skincare or something, you want to go to the gym, right? Like when you better yourself, it requires like more complexity. But when it comes to hair, accepting hair loss, one of the pros of losing your hair, if you want to go the route of accepting your hair, is it's going to be less complicated to deal with. Number two, more unique. So if you don't know, it's 1 in 3 guys that lose their hair. Let me just quickly show you this video right here.
You have even the smallest, faintest hint of an idea that you are losing your hair, then you need to do something about it right now. Hair loss is not a joke. A lot of men deal with it. Somewhere over 30% of men that have to go through male pattern baldness. And 2 men...
Cool. So 30%, right? 33%, whatever the case is. Basically 1 in 3 guys lose their hair. Now, it's more than 30% for the guys that just start losing hair, but like what he means like 30%, those are the guys that like go bald. They lose so much hair to the point where like you can't style your hair anymore. You're forced to basically shave your head, or you just have like this massive gap in your head, right? So maybe around 55% from like what I remember like experience recession and some thinning from their baseline, and that's just maturing and with age, but you could still like hang on to your hair. But it's usually the ages of 17 to like 27, somewhere in that 10-year age gap, where people who are going to be bald for life start to recede like crazy, including myself in my crown, which was the weak area for myself. So why is this a pro? It being more unique. It's not that common, right? It isn't. It's 1 in 3. That is not that common. It's common enough, but it's not that common. Anything that's unique can play to your advantage or disadvantage. It's basically like the glass is half empty and half full. So if you're already having a negative mindset around it, of course you're only going to see cons. But if you take me, for example, I see it as a pro. Some people, there's this saying that there's no bad publicity. Like you could look at Andrew Tate, for example, right? Andrew Tate got a bunch of hate, but he also went extremely viral. So even though a bunch of people hated what he was saying, with time, it made him a lot of money. So a pro to a con, right? So unique. You're more unique. You stand out. Certain people that I've listened to will always tell you standing out is a huge advantage in life. And if you're shy and unconfident and you don't like standing out, then it's going to be a negative. But I consider it a pro. Number 3, drug-free. of course, our health is important. So I'm going to see this as a pro. Now, legally, I can't tell people on YouTube that, hey, if you don't take if you take illegal drugs, that's a good thing. No, it's not a good thing, right? I can't say that. So, but if you're taking legal drugs, who am I to tell you that you can or can't do something? Obviously, people can do what they want. They can take legal drugs. They can, because I can't recommend the other thing, right? People can take legal drugs. People can go get hair transplants, plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery. People can go get height lengthening surgery. They can do all of these things. Totally fine. People can do what they want. But I also want people to know about this side of life, right? So being drug free is a pro, all right? So of course it's a pro. You don't have to rely on any medication like finasteride or minoxidil. I think, yeah, there's so many videos on on Instagram and all that. So next one, you can be very attractive. Despite what I say all the time, that you're going to be less conventionally attractive, people are still desired when they're bald. So you need to realize that. And this is like a mindset shift, maybe, perhaps for some of you. There's people, right, that we all know of. We get the same names thrown out. The Rock, Jason Statham. You could think of David Goggins. People who don't have hair, who have sex appeal, who are attractive and desired by the opposite sex. However, if you never even try to go bald, how would you know that you can't also have sex appeal and be desired? How would you know? You just wouldn't know. You would think, yep, it's not going to work for me without even trying, which, unfortunately, most things, if you want to know for certain, you should try. Not everything, but it is one of the things. So you can be very attractive, conventionally attractive to every single person in the largest age range that you can. Probably not, but you can still be very attractive, very happy. So that's another pro. You can be very attractive and a unique archetype. Next, zero side effects. And I did write this down, obviously. So zero side effects. When you fight hair loss, you have to go through taking a chance of side effects, whether you notice them or whether you don't. And the thing is, if you don't quit at something, you'll find a way to overcome. Same thing with taking drugs. So even if you do experience side effects, you can play with the dose and eventually be side effect free, as far as you think. But if you don't do that, there is no chance of side effects, right? It's like people say, when you're in school, people say the best thing to not get someone pregnant is to not have sex. It's true. It is true. When you have sex, technically there's a chance, right? So same thing. If you don't want to have side effects, don't take drugs. It's pretty simple. Can make you better yourself. I don't even know what point I'm on. That's the next point. You can better yourself. So this might be kind of questionable as a pro for balding, for hair loss if you're losing your hair. But I don't see it as that. I see it as a pro. And here's why. So even though you can have hair, or you could go on finasteride and fight hair loss and better yourself, for a lot of people, losing your hair, I think, really drives it out of you. I have nothing against haters and people who say oh, you're coping and all this. I just genuinely want to help people. It's that simple. All right. There's no wrong answer if you choose to. You can't tell someone fuck you. Your opinion is wrong. You can't just say that, right? You need to. So what I'm trying to do is just help you. I'm trying to help you make a decision. Okay, by giving you the pros of hair loss. There are people I've seen who say, yeah, you're coping. People who are hating. And the same thing, I imagine it goes the other way. People, right, who are taking finasteride think that bald people giving advice is coping. And then I'm sure there's bald people who go over to people who are on medication who say, oh, you should just go bald, you're being a bitch, blah, blah, blah. It goes both ways. I'm just here to help. I'm not here to tell you what you have to do. It's just the pros, right? You take it or leave it. So it can make you better yourself. I remember when I was in the military, I still am in the military, but I'm in the reserves. So when I was going through MOS school and I was in California, I was taking a piss in the urinal, and there was a staff sergeant that was also, using the urinal. And somehow we got into a conversation. I think he thought I was somebody who he knew. And basically he looked over at me and he told me, every bald person I know is doing better than me in life. And that was like such a funny moment because, obviously I was shaving my head and everything. Coincidence? I think not. So I would say from my personal experience, maybe like half, right? So it's already 30% the people that lose their hair. And of that 30%, how many do you think that are in the younger side hop on medication? It's the majority. The majority of people who are young and losing their hair are hopping on medication, which there's nothing wrong with that. But just to let you realize, going back to the unique point, you're a lot more unique if you don't hop on medication, because it's like not the trend. It's not what's popular to accept hair loss and see if you can still like break all these limiting beliefs about yourself. Another thing, just tying into confidence, how you build confidence, in my opinion, is through doing things that you doubt you can do. All right. For a lot of people, like at least me, like I didn't have my shit together when I was in school, like high school, middle school, elementary school. Like I was still lost, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What I have liked to be like more productive and like being like someone that stood out. Like I had all A's, like I was like the best on a team or something. I started a club. There were people that did that in before they were an adult. That wasn't me. All I had done was climb some rocks, rock climbing. That's all I did when I was like younger. Now, here's the thing, right? That was one thing. That was one thing I did. The reason why it was something that ended up building confidence for me was because I didn't think I could climb. I looked at rock climbing and I had a lot of doubt. I looked at it as something that, not for me. It's too difficult. It's not, I won't be able to get good at this thing. So what happened as I got better at that thing? I built confidence. You gain confidence when you're doing things that you doubt, that are hard and difficult, and you show yourself that, oh shit, I was wrong. Now you're more confident in yourself. So if all you do is like play video games, right? If all you do is play video games and you don't leave the house, well, that's comfortable to you. That's a confident environment to you, right? So, and then you're basically like playing video games, and if you were to meet like a gamer girl, you probably have no issue talking to her through like a microphone, not even like face to face, because you're confident and comfortable in that environment. But then if you see a pretty girl in the street, you might not be able to go up to her and introduce yourself because you don't have confidence from anything else, if that makes sense, right? So that was a little example of how going bald and one of the pros of hair loss is that it can make you better yourself. It might get you in better shape. You might realize like, oh yeah, like now I want to fit a certain like look, blah, blah, blah. And you're doing something, you're learning how to conquer an obstacle, and you're not just like, trying to use medication. This was something I didn't even think about in the drug category for being drug free. You are more likely, this is like so random, but I use examples to prove points. I'm not telling you don't own a gun. It's just like the facts that I know, right? So if you own a gun, you're more likely to get shot. You would think, if I have a gun, I am able to protect myself. But you're also a bigger threat than a person that didn't have a gun. So the moment they see that, you are, by statistics, more likely to be shot. The same thing with depending on drugs. What I noticed from all the people on YouTube, on the platform I'm on too, that give advice, who are young, most of them tell you to go on finasteride, but a lot of them are also on TRT, even on steroids, right? And the ones that aren't, there are plenty of people who aren't, but what my point is, when you take drugs, you're more likely to take drugs to solve other issues too. I'm not saying if you take like finasteride, you're going to like hop on steroids. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you're just like the gun example, you're more likely to use drugs to solve other problems in your life, right? So that was the pros of hair loss. I went over some cons. I went over the pros in my opinion. And it's also amazing to conquer your insecurities. And there's a community for it that's being built. And there's some information in there already. I'm very proud of it. So if you really want to learn how to conquer insecurities, better yourself, like, because, you know, hair loss is tied to self-improvement. So there's a lot of things in there that will be covered, like fitness, fashion, dating, all that stuff. And also like just basically how going bald isn't life ruining. To learn about that, to work with me, to be in this community, it's on a discount. It's on a discount right now. So you can go ahead and click the link in the description and you can join that program if you want more, right? So hopefully you enjoyed the video, and more videos to come soon. I'll catch you guys on the next one, and make sure to leave me some topics if you want some topics covered. I'll gladly make videos on that topic. Peace.